Hi, I'm Gillian.
And I'm Stephanie. Welcome to our Freedom Years. We're Canadian expats who have saved and invested our way to financial independence. What this means is that the interest from our net assets is enough to cover the costs of our life on an ongoing basis.
This allowed us to quit our jobs in Singapore, where we worked for 6 years, and head out on the road for a life of slow travel with our 2 poodles.
Today's video is all about how much we are spending. So we are tracking every dollar, every penny, and every destination that we're traveling to. And the idea behind this is that by sharing the costs that we have as we go from country to country, you can start envisioning what your own slow travels might look like and how much it can cost.
It's been about 5 weeks since we left Singapore to begin our slow travels. And we've been in 2 locations so far. First, Krakow, Poland, and now Lviv, Ukraine. And we've spent around equal time in both of those cities, so it gives us a really good opportunity to compare the costs across those 2 locations.
Now in this video, there are some costs that we will not be sharing. So those costs are the flights and the train rides to get us in and out of each country. So we won't be sharing those because it's not relevant as we just look at what it costs to stay in a city. The other costs that we will be sharing are any personal expenditures that are maybe not relevant to other people. For example, we have our 2 dogs with us. But we don't think that everybody needs to know the amount that we're spending on their dog food, since most likely you will not be taking your dog on a long-term travel across Europe, but maybe you will. So in future videos, we can possibly share that as well. The first cost that we're going to talk about is accommodation, because this, of course, is the largest expenditure that you will have when you are traveling. Just for the sake of convenience, we put all of our costs in US dollars, and that will just make it easy for everyone to convert into a relevant currency. So for Krakow, the spend that we had on our 18 nights in a beautiful little studio apartment that was very close to the historic center of Kazimierz was $610. And this was, we thought, a fairly good deal. It was very well situated. It was close to some fun little restaurants and bars and tattoo parlors and hairstyle salons. So it was a little bit of a hipster neighborhood and relatively close, not very close, but relatively close to the historic downtown core. So that was about a 20-minute walk away.
Here in Lviv, our apartment is $534. And for this money, we're getting a 1-bedroom apartment, same as in Krakow, but this time it's actually in a separate room, and generally the apartment's just a lot more spacious. As well, in terms of the location, it's even more central, just a stone's throw away from the historic center.
So in total, we're paying on average $34 a night for our apartment in Krakow and $30 a night for the apartment in Lviv. Krakow, we're getting a cute little studio, but definitely very small, maybe not suitable for everyone, and it is a bit further away from where the action is happening in the historic center. In Lviv, we're getting something that costs less, but is actually much bigger. Groceries is another big expense when you're traveling, so we do try to do a lot of our own cooking. Our cooking might look a little bit different from other people, so we have a very strong emphasis on a lot of protein and a lot of vegetables. So typically the protein can really make those grocery bills add up. We do avoid having too many carbs when we cook at home, so we don't have some things that would be more filling for other people, like a lot of bread or a lot of pasta, that sort of item. So for us in Krakow, our grocery costs were about $293 for those 18 days, and that really included a lot of cooking at home. We did go out to eat, but we were typically more going for takeout, which we'll talk about in the next section.
So in Lviv, we were also doing a lot of cooking, and here our total grocery bill added up to $237.
Now let's talk about really what I think is the most exciting line item, which is dining out and takeaway food. So this for me is one of the reasons why I travel. I want to experience the cuisines of different cultures as much as possible when I'm on the road. So in Krakow, we spent $175 in dining out and takeaway. And actually, we were really just focused on the takeaway. So most of our meals we ate in the outdoors in some way. There are a lot of amazing food truck parks in Krakow, so we really focused on those. It meant that we're eating a lot of kind of burgers or things that are like simple and easy to eat on the go with your hands. So these weren't fancy meals by any stretch. We did of course have a few restaurant meals, but we were primarily focused on things that were easy for us. And part of that is because this was our first destination after leaving our homes, and it was the beginning of our journey, and we're just sort of settling into a routine. So we didn't have anything too fancy at this point.
So in Lviv, our total spend was $206. And I can tell you what we got for that money was way more. First of all, we were eating more often. I'd say every day or two we were having a lunch or a dinner out. And as well, the quality of the food, the quality of the restaurants we were eating in was much higher.
So really, for that money that we're spending in Lviv, we were truly having, some evenings it would be what I would consider like a lovely feast, and that would come with alcohol and all of the fixings. And then in Krakow, we had a lot of really delicious burgers, but those two things don't equate that well. Entertainment is the next item. And for this one, we didn't do too many tourist activities when we were in Krakow. So again, this was a time to sort of get settled into some new routines. We were starting this new life of slow travel. One of us did get to do a couple exciting things. That person was me. So I chose to do a food tour. And I also went and did a tour of the local castle, which was absolutely beautiful. So those two items added up to be $82, with the food tour being the vast majority of that cost. I love the food tour. I love doing a food tour in every city that I go to. And it's just an amazing way to be introduced to the cuisine and introduced to the culture. That said, it does add up. It becomes quite a pricey activity for one person.
So in Lviv, our total spend on entertainment was $107. And once again, this amount of money went way further in Lviv. First of all, we did our walking tour, which although it was a free walking tour, we did tip the guide, of course. Then as well, we once again had a food tour. This time, both of us went, so 2 people on a food tour. As well, we went to the ballet, and what else? Oh yes, entrance to Lviv Cemetery as well. So you can see that $107 stretched way further in Lviv as compared to the $82 in Krakow.
And in fact, the food tour is a great example because we paid basically the same price for food tours in both cities, but just one person went on the food tour in Krakow and 2 people were able to go in Lviv. So really some amazing value here. Local transportation is the next line item. This one is very small for us in both cities, and the reason is both cities were very walkable. So in fact, we didn't have to take transit or cabs or anything like that to get from A to B. We were able to do walking for most occasions. In Krakow, we spent about $15, and this one was really just to get transit when we were coming in from the train station, and then again when we were leaving.
Similar to Krakow, in Lviv, our only transportation cost was just coming from the train to our place, and then once again from our place to the train station. So on the way here, it cost a grand total of $3, and we expect roughly the same as we head out. So a total of $6 for our local transportation in Lviv.
Household expenses is also a very small line item. In general, when you stay at an Airbnb, obviously you do expect that when you arrive, all of the little bits and pieces that you need for the household will be there. So in Krakow, we spent $10 on doing a minor restocking.
And Lviv, we spent just $2. And I will say we had to restock fewer things. There was a bit more available here, but generally the prices per item were less, significantly less in Lviv as compared to Krakow.
The next item is data, and while we did not pay much as part of our overall budget, this is, as you know, an extremely important line item. We could not navigate a city, we couldn't find a restaurant, we couldn't quickly look up the history of something if we didn't have a solid data plan available. In Krakow, the pricing was rather good on our global data plan, so we buy as we need for each city that we're going to, so it was a $10 outlay.
So in Lviv, our data cost a little bit more at $19, and this is because our data provider didn't have a local data plan for this area, so we had to go with a global data plan.
Last but not least is fitness. So we are very into our fitness program. We like to work out 5 to 6 times a week, generally lead very active lives. We definitely love to be at a gym, using barbells. That's our focus for our fitness program. when we were in Krakow, we were able to go to an amazing gym. So it was just over a kilometer away. We could just jog it in, get to the gym, do an amazing workout. And the price was amazing. We happened upon a promotional offer, which was $0 for the first 2 weeks. So we were able to take advantage of a 2-week program while we were in Krakow, and fortunately did not have to pay any money. So that was a perfect fit with our budget.
So in Lviv, we didn't find a gym right close by that met all of our needs. So we actually did something a little different. We decided to try at-home workouts, which worked just fine for us for the last 2 weeks and had a cost of $0.
So that wraps up all of our costs for each city for those 18 days that we had in each one. So for Krakow, we spent a grand total of $1,195, which is an average of $66 a day.
And in Lviv, our grand total was $1,109, which is a total of $62 per day.
So actually the two cities were fairly close in terms of the expenditure, although as I think you've heard, we got a lot more for the buck when we were traveling in Lviv. That doesn't take away from the experience we had in Krakow, because it was just a beautiful city, a beautiful time that we had. We just happened to have a few more dinners out, a night at the ballet, maybe an extra food tour in Lviv, but we definitely enjoyed both cities equally.
Those were the costs for the first chapter in our Freedom Years. And tomorrow we'll be heading off to our next destination, which is Istanbul, Turkey. So hope you'll join us to hear more. If you liked this video, please give us a thumbs up. And as well, you can let us know in the comments if there are other topics you'd like to hear about. See you next time.